Hey everybody. So, unfortunately, due to some technical difficulties, I was unable. Look at my hair, man. Look at that. Look how long it's grown. Due to some technical difficulties, I wasn't able to do the video episode of Burning Briefs on certain social platforms. So we have to do it on IGTV Live or IG Live, I guess. That's the better way to say it. So the Burning Briefs episode, 20th episode, will be here live on Instagram TV. Or Instagram Live, I guess is a better way of saying it. And, yeah, let's see. I'm going to invite someone into the interview. We have this gentleman from called Hollywood Reseller. And, yeah, he's going to be our second interview to ever been done. So let's welcome our new guy, or our new interviewist, whatever you want to call him, into the mix. What's up, dude?
Hey, how you doing? How's it going, Carlos?
Hey. What's up, guys? What's up? How you doing today, my brother?
Good, thank you.
All right.
Just staying as cool as possible since it was really hot day today. But other than that, really good, staying hydrated.
Yeah, all right. So this is actually officially the first interview I get to do asking him the questions, because he did do an interview with me asking the questions. So I do have a bunch of questions to ask, of course, for our first. Unfortunately, Mr. J couldn't be here to do the video because it's kind of hard to get a three-way call going, and he was having his own schedule issues. So we're just gonna do it without him on this first episode, or 20th episode of Burning Briefs. Welcome to the show, Hollywood Reseller. What do you want us to call you? You want us to call you Hollywood Reseller, or do you want us to call you another name? What do you want to call it?
Yeah, Hollywood Reseller is okay. Yeah, thank you for having me, by the way. Appreciate it.
Yeah, dude, okay. Yeah, no, so if you're not familiar, you should get a chance to watch him on YouTube. He has a lot of great stuff. Very entertaining, honestly. I watched a few minutes of him. Got a little hook. Just a smidge.
Thank you.
So let's start off with the question. What is it that you do?
Okay, so basically what I do is I just go look for items, not just in person, but also online. And I use different apps as well to just buy low, sell high, basically. And I mainly sell on eBay. I also sell a little bit on Poshmark, and I tried before in the past OfferUp, and I'm actually just started recently on Mercari as well.
Oh, wow, you got a lot of platforms, man. Damn.
Yeah.
You hustling out there. Okay,
Yeah.
so what is it that you, what got you into this? That's the question, I guess.
Yeah, that's a good question. A long time ago, we're talking about almost around 2009, around there, / 2010. Around that time, I was in the military, right? So when I was in the military, I got deployed. And when I was deployed at that time, I was trying to convince my wife at the time to get into reselling, just to kind of get her busy doing something, while I was away. So basically what I did was, while I was overseas, just on the computer, nothing else to do out there when I had free time, I would look at different websites to see what I could buy in bulk, and just so she'll be able to resell. Obviously buy the stuff online, send it home to her. She'll be able to resell it. Fast forward to a couple years later, we ended up just separating, and she just one day just ships a whole box of stuff to my home. And then basically she just had, wanted to make space, right?
Yeah.
So that's one thing that I said, what am I going to do with this entire stuff? And that's when I was like, you know what? Why don't I just list it on eBay? So it just happened that way.
Oh, that's cool, man. Well, thank you for your service.
Yeah.
Say that. Thanks, man.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah, and wow, that's crazy how things turn out. 1 minute it's like a very bad situation, or like really sad story that happened, but something comes good out of it at the end of it. That's awesome, dude.
Yeah.
Wow, that's cool.
It
That's the part of the story how it started. You would think like normally somebody would be like, hey, I was watching something in commercial and I was like, oh, yo, that's perfect. Yeah, I'm going to do that for a living. But you had like a whole different, like flipped it on us on that story.
Yeah.
All right. So what sort of items do you sell?
Good question. Right now at the moment I sell, let's say for example, 45 RPM records, regular vinyl records, 8-tracks.
Wow.
Also, let's say different type of toys, anything that has to do with Hasbro or Kenner, or pretty much anything that I can find either in yard sales or maybe even at the local Goodwill thrift stores. Maybe I tried a couple of pawn shops, but yeah, mainly anything that I could scan my cell phone with. And when I say scan, I'm saying if you go on eBay and all the way to the top right on your mobile app on eBay, you'll be
Huh?
able to hit the little search button, and then you click on the little barcode. It's going to say something about barcode scan item. You just click on that, and then you obviously scan the barcode. You'll be able to see what the item is selling for. And normally that's what I do. I just look for stuff, see what they've sold for, and that's when I see if it's worth buying. If I'm able to buy it low, and so I can be able to sell it high enough.
Damn, dude. All
So yeah, a
right.
little bit of everything.
That's pretty cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Did you get the name Hollywood Reseller?
Good question. I mean, there were so many names out there. Honestly, I didn't even know how to come up with a really good fancy name. But I mean, obviously, California is known for Hollywood, right? And not
Yeah.
only that, I live really close to Hollywood. Well, actually, technically in Hollywood, but it's just not the Hollywood that everybody knows. It's just a little bit more northern to Hollywood itself, but it's still considered Hollywood. It's a place where people call it North Hollywood. So I say, you know what? Yeah, technically, I can still use the name. It's there. So yeah, and obviously reseller because a lot of resellers in the reselling community they use picker at the end for the second, the second word for their title, or they use flipper. So I just thought, you know what, I want to try something a little bit different that's not with those two words. So I just said reseller, Hollywood reseller. That's how
Well,
it came up.
all right. Yeah, that's clever. Yeah, you want to stick out, obviously, when it comes to being the name. That's
Yeah.
why it took me forever to come up with a bunch of my segment names. Like, I was like, what am I going to put? And I had to look up and research to find out if anyone else had it and stuff. Like, I recently just
Yeah.
found out that the No Strings podcast had people, they had their own podcast. Like, I looked it up on YouTube one day and I was like, yo, wait, what's this? And then I saw some people already doing a podcast that says No String Podcast on there. I was like, I
Oh
can't use
man.
this name anymore, man. I just can't. So I had to figure a new name out.
Yeah.
You know how it is. Sometimes you just got to be really creative with your name. Sometimes they're all stolen or already taken, but at the same time,
Yeah.
you got to figure yourself out. Anyways,
True.
okay. So in case anyone missed our interview on Instagram Live, how do we know each other?
Uh, let's say a few years back, we used to work as security officers, and I'm not sure if it's this place called it's basically known as Lower Lock,
Yeah.
and yeah, it's a place where a lot of people know. I'm not sure if it's a really huge place, right? And at this place, we would all basically like me. I would be put at different stages where they do movies in the film industry. So yeah, basically that's where I started. That's where we started working together, and I was like an on-call security officer. They would call me whenever, let's say, they had any work, any need for security officers. And yeah, I was just basically on call. Would call every night, the night before, to see if there's anything. And yeah, that's pretty much where we got to know each other. Yeah, where we were
Yeah.
able to work together. It was really fun, good times.
Yeah, dude, it was good times. Don't get me wrong. Like we were talking about before in the last interview, when we went there, we were hoping that we were going to probably get a little bit of that. Like, I don't know. I guess you were thinking if you're around the celebrity life or celebrity like studios, there's a chance you might
Yeah.
get, recognized, or maybe there's a chance you might be a
Mhm.
part of it somehow. But you
Yeah.
realize that's not the case. Like, all
Mhm.
business, you're bored out of your mind. This job is good if you were like going to school and you want to just take some
Mhm.
tests and you wanted to be able to read. Like this job will kind of let you get a chance to read a little bit while you're working instead of
Yeah.
having to be focused on the whole issue of working so hard. But at the same
Mhm.
time, it's one of those jobs that are temps. I mean, some people do it forever,
Yeah.
but then some people,
Yeah.
they use it as the retirement plan. They get old, as they get older and they don't have enough money for retirement, so they go to security to get that extra income from that. So it's like
Mhm.
I feel like that's the only reason why we kind of did it for the moment because you're not there anymore,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, I'm not there anymore.
Oh no, man. Yeah, I
Yeah,
quit many years ago.
yeah,
The
moved on.
reasons why, though, no, but the reasons why was because I mean, whenever like whenever they placed us to different locations, they would actually drive us to certain places, and post us in certain areas. It was almost impossible sometimes to get water, and something as simple as just getting a pack of waters, putting it in the truck, and then just whenever you go relieve somebody, here's 2 bottles of water.
Yeah.
Something that what I mean, they would never out of their own. You know what I mean? When it comes to management, that's one of those little things. And then later, also just having to do a lot of standing, and people would actually, as crazy as it sounds, people would actually fight for a chair, a foldable chair. And
Yeah,
we were lucky if it was in back of the truck. So little things
dude.
like that where, you know what I mean? Yeah, it just
Yeah, no,
wasn't going to work out.
it's true. We were being taken advantage of in a way. It's almost like they
Yeah.
knew, like they were at a certain level, and they're like, "We get to treat you this way because you can't do anything about it," you know. And we're like, "Well,
Yeah.
Dad, we're going."
Hmm. Yeah. And
All
over
right.
time, little by little. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. So, what's one of the coolest items you've purchased on the field?
As crazy as it sounds, actually, it's a DVD from Mighty Morphin's Power Rangers Ninjas, and I never really think much of it. It cost me $1, and it was brand new and sealed. I scanned it up really fast. It sold for $150 out there a couple times. So what I did was basically I bought it for $1, right? And I ended up selling it for I think it was around $130. And I'm
Damn,
still, yeah, man, that was recently too. So I was
damn,
like, whoa, that was awesome. Yeah.
dude. Wow, just damn, dude. You just blew my mind with this whole flipping thing. It's like I got $1, and bam, out of nowhere, it's like I just made $130 out of it. I made one hundred
Yeah, I
twenty
mean,
nine dollars out of it.
especially since it's Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Of course, I was a big fan of it when I was, a child, and
Old
then later
school.
finding out about this Ninja Power Ranger Mighty Morphin, something I never had heard about before as a kid. So
Hmm.
I thought that was pretty cool. And yeah, I mean, I'm still shocked that I was able to make that much just out of $1.
Damn, that's crazy, dude. Yeah, because I remember, yeah, Power Rangers was my jam in the '90s. I remember
Yeah,
everyone was crushing on Kimberly, the Pink Ranger, man. I was crushing on Kimberly, the
yeah,
Pink Ranger. So
yeah,
I'm gonna say, like, it's awesome. Um,
yeah.
all right, what's the most money you've made selling an item?
Let's see. $500, and that was a statue. That was a wooden Buddha statue, basically a regular random statue made out of wood, and it was a Buddha statue. I got that one on what was that app? OfferUp. So basically, what I did for some time, what I would do is I would go on OfferUp and I would look up Buddha wooden statue, and I would just try to see what I could find, like the most rarest Buddha statues, and just try to get it for like less than, if possible, less than $10 or $10 the most, and then just list it and let it sit there for a while, right? And then just little by little over time, people will send you offers, or if you allow that, right? But in this case, I just let it sit there, and yeah, I was able to donate it for. I'm sorry, sell it for $499. Technically, still $500. So
Damn.
it took a while though, but it's all.
No, hey man, it don't
Yeah,
matter how long it took. I mean, that's the thing about items. It's like you can hold it. It's not like produce, you know? You can't leave it
yeah,
somewhere and have to wait for an expiration date. Like, no, that item can sell as long as you keep it somewhere real neat where it doesn't like have any spiders wind up on it. Even then, you can just clean it up
yeah,
with some cobwebs and all that. You know, it's all good.
exactly.
And then you can sell that whenever you
Yeah,
want. That's the beautiful thing about items. It's like you have all this time to sell it, but you just have to have that
hmm,
energy to be like, oh, I'm gonna put this out there and sell it. You know, I'm gonna put it. You want this? Do you
yeah,
want it? Do you not want it? You know. Um,
yeah.
all right. Let's see. What is the least amount of money you've made selling an item?
Good question, and that's something that I'm still working on. Well, I'm not sure. In the beginning, what I did was I would sell low-end items. For example, something that would sell for $10, 9.99, and I would offer free shipping. I still do that, right? But it's just basically off of that, we need to keep in mind the type of fees that a seller is going to go through. For example, the eBay fees. Before we would have PayPal fees, but now eBay just increased the fees and took PayPal out of the way. So obviously, the eBay fees, the shipping fees. If you ship something with USPS first class, it'll cost maybe less than $4 compared if you ship something with priority mail or maybe even media flat rate box. You know, depending on how you ship an item.
Yeah.
So in this case, yeah, it was the minimum, maybe about $5 or so per item that I sold at under $10.
Whoa. So that's
Yeah,
that's that's the least.
yeah, the least.
Oh wow.
Well, actually, correction. I did actually a long time ago. Before that, I did sell bumper stickers, and that was, let's say, $3.99, free shipping with postage, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, that's the least.
Damn, dude. Hey, you hustled in every direction you possibly could get your hands on. That's impressive, man.
Yeah,
Uh,
thank you.
let's let's
And
see.
yeah,
Oh, do you have any crazy stories that took place during your time out in the field?
There was one time, well, I mean, I wouldn't call it really, really crazy, but yeah, it was just one time when I went to the Goodwill, local Goodwill. I
Huh?
went in there thinking, you know what, all right, I'm going to go in there, try to see if I can find some good stuff. And it was my first time that I've gone in there. And yeah, I mean, I went in there, it was like regular afternoon time, right? So
Yeah.
regular traffic in the store itself. But next thing you know, once I've noticed, when I went over the entire area that I was, where I was at, they were bringing out this cart. When the moment they were bringing out this one cart, before they did that, they announced it in the intercom, right? So the way people would behave, would start to act, it was really, I don't know, it was kind of like, I don't know what other better word to use, but how people, sometimes when they become desperate for something,
Yeah.
fighting for something, that's when I was like, damn, that was crazy to me. I couldn't. That was the first time I was exposed to something like that.
Mm.
Close to where everybody were. I don't want to say fist fighting, but it was getting to that point. Just try to, grab the next item that was in the cart. And yeah, I mean, I thought that was pretty crazy though, to be honest.
I mean,
Never
girls.
seen anything like that until the first time.
I mean, women in clearance sales, man. That's how crazy they be getting. Like, yeah, it's like, yeah, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's crazy to think that we get so caught. Like Black Friday is a perfect example
Mhm.
of all of us
Yeah.
getting way over the top hyped on something where we're killing people or hurting people in the process of doing that. It's
Yeah.
crazy. Just so we can get like an Elmo doll. I heard somebody got crushed for an Elmo doll, Walmart worker one time. I was like, what, for an Elmo
That
doll? Like,
sucks.
that's crazy. Like, imagine having to explain that to like the like family, like, oh, how he went. Like, that's just awful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
It's
mean,
wrong.
we gotta take a step back when it comes to items and realize they are items. Yes, we want to
Yeah.
remember our childhood. We want to collect certain things, but let's do it in a very well-mannered way where we're not trying to
Mhm.
beat the crap out of each other just so we can get a bottle cap or something.
Yeah.
It's just not worth it. Um,
Exactly.
let's see. Any tips you have for people wanting to get into your type of field?
In the beginning, when I first started, how do you say this? I would look at a lot of YouTube videos, right? Different type of YouTube resellers.
Uh-huh.
And I mean, at first, what happened was, this is my way of thinking at first, way before I started reselling. And the beginning, when I started reselling, I would look at stores like 99-cent store, the Dollar Tree stores, local dollar stores, right?
Uh-huh.
And I would say, you know what? If these guys are making money, a lot of money out of $1 items, then maybe I could make some good amount of money on reselling maybe $10 items, right?
Hmm.
And maybe just cover the cost, which was the shipping and the other fees that comes with it. So that type of mentality was good in the beginning because, of course, I had a low budget to work with to be able to source with stuff. But then later over time, I noticed that, yeah, as that type of business grew, selling smaller end items, I kind of wish I had actually done the opposite. Just gone to regular thrift stores from the start and just look for those one item at a time. For example, do your research at the moment, see if it's worth reselling at a higher level. I wish I had done that way in the beginning because yeah, I've noticed that does leave you a lot more money much faster than if you were to get small end items. And yeah, that's one of the things that I would recommend people to do. Go for the higher end items. Also, because let's say if you're able to get a lot of different kind of items to resell at $10 a piece with free shipping, do you have the space? That's something that I battle with. The traffic is not all fully there. It's still there. Don't get me wrong. It's just slowly there. Over time, you get a couple sales here and there on certain items at $10 a piece. But I mean, if I can just concentrate on 20, 30 items and sell them for like maybe 20 to 30 to 40 bucks,
Yeah.
I think that's much better now. It takes much less space in the long
Yeah.
run.
No, I agree.
That's
I
one thing
get
I
that.
recommend.
It's like gambling. You either go big or go home
Yeah.
kind of situations. Like you got to take
Hmm.
that risk when it comes to a stock, when it comes to putting your money into something. Like there's a bunch of
Yeah.
chances you might, but it's better that you're right. Like I agree with that. Like research is a very important thing we have to understand. And granted, not everybody's capable of finding out how to do the proper research. But as long as
Hmm.
you put somewhat of an effort, you'll learn from the experience. I think is the way we would go about it,
Yeah.
right? Like I think it's
Yeah.
like, yeah.
Another thing that I wish I had done sooner was it just Google obviously has all these different type of websites and apps, a couple of different apps here and there. There's this app called Google Lens. I wish I had known about it much earlier because that you can go anywhere basically and just take Google Lens, LENS, and just look up the item right there. In maybe 2 or 3 seconds, you know what you're looking at, and then you can just basically get the name of the title of that item and just look it up on eBay, see what it sold for, see what it's selling for. That's gonna save you a lot of time, and that's basically like doing research right there.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean that's the beautiful thing about technology nowadays is that they're trying to make it much more easier for us to learn about stuff a lot more faster, a lot more frequently. Like it's incredible. We have more knowledge than
Yeah.
we've ever had in our entire generation. Like in the 90s,
Mm.
shoot, we were still trying to figure out a cell phone, flipping it open and stuff,
Yeah.
pulling a little wire out or a little beeper. That's what we were at. We weren't even near this now. We're like, you could take a picture or something or like look at it and bam, now you know whether or not how much it costs, where you could find it. Like that's
Hmm.
blowing my mind. But it's so great that we have
Yeah.
that because it gives people a chance to be their own entrepreneurs. Like you're being your own entrepreneur
Hmm.
right now, right? You're making that money. You're
Yeah.
trying not to like, you're not trying to like focus letting your career only be on whatever job you're currently on. Are you working at anything right now? Yeah, right. So you're like,
Yeah. Yeah. Just. Mhm.
that's your temp
Yeah.
job for
That's
now. It's like,
exactly. Yeah, and I'm hoping to in the long run, let's say, be able to be a full-time reseller in the long run. Yes, of course, I'm
absolutely.
still learning as I go to be able to now work my way to, how do you say this? Just sell more higher end items and kind of like phase out the lower end items.
That's a good idea because like Cesar Millan has a perfect story of that situation where he was window cleaning. That's all he did. He was
Hmm.
window cleaning windows. That's it with glass and spray, and that's it, or that window Windex or whatever. And he would clean windows on people's cars until eventually he got to become the dog whisperer. Like it's just like there's
Nice.
always a beginning where it starts off like, oh, you sold this a little bit, and some people are gonna place that whole
Hmm.
doubt in you where it's like I should give it up by this point. Like, how long has it been? There's always like everyone who's got that
Yeah.
doubt. But if you got that ambition in you to be like, well, I don't want to live forever working someone else's job. I want to make my own job and do my own thing.
Yeah.
I'd rather make that sacrifice than just keep doubting myself every single day of my life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things also that, I mean, in the beginning, I had issues with something as basic as just printing a shipping label.
No.
That kind of hold me for a while. And yeah, over time, you kind of get to know whenever you sell an item on eBay, it's easy. It's just you, of course, easy for me because I've done it so many times. But in
Yeah.
the past, I had no idea. You can just go on the eBay website, create an account, list the item right with your phone. And then once the item is sold, they send you like a notification. It's time to ship the item. So obviously by that time, you want to just log on your regular desktop and then print the shipping label. And it's good to have a digital scale on the side that's really reliable. And yeah, I mean, that's something that was holding, something as simple as that was holding me back. Sometimes there were times where I would go to the post office, local post office in person, and then I'll have them print the shipping label for me and I'll have to pay it there. And yeah, we're talking about, there was times when there were like maybe 12 to maybe 15 boxes, little packages that I had to go get shipped.
Damn.
Became a lot easier once I was finally able to figure out how to get those shipping labels printed out from home.
Dude,
Huge game changer.
that's fantastic. Yeah, same thing with us.
Yeah.
Like we had to get our equipment. We had to advance our equipment in order to be able to make it a lot better. Like I didn't have a
Hmm.
camera stand. I didn't have this light. This lighting is bright as fudge. I got like a mic here. Like I got all like sound, like a little sound wall thingy. Like I got all this stuff here because I knew that in order to get to where I want to go, in order for success to become a part of you, you have to put in the work, but you also have to put in some of that money. And then you
Yeah. Oh
only get
yeah.
better eventually. Yeah, I didn't used to edit it before. I used to edit like half crappy camera video imagery and all that stuff. Now I got all this to my, in my tool belt to be able to edit, add stuff, sound effects, everything, and it's great, man.
Nice.
So I get where you're
That's
coming from
cool.
when it comes to like you started off with just like, oh, I was gonna start slow, but now you're like, I got all this stuff I need to do in order to make this happen, in order to become like what I want, which is to sell things like 10 times full and make a bunch of money off of it, which is awesome.
Yeah. Thank you.
Let's see here.
Yeah. But yeah, that
Uh,
is true. You're right. It's good to have, invest that money in the beginning, but make sure, you're investing in something that's going to be able to pay you back, like the right equipment, that is very true.
yeah,
That's one thing that's been helpful.
you got to invest in yourself. That's like the reality. It's like if you really believe in your brand, if you believe in what you're going to do, you got to invest in yourself.
Mhm.
Everyone is going to
Yeah.
tell you that it's a big risk and all that stuff, but think about all the greats that have been told no. Michael Jordan, who said from his coach, you can't play basketball. You ain't good, kid. Look what he did now. Like, there's just
Mm-hmm.
so many ways where people say, well, I can prove you wrong. And I just do believe that
Yeah.
you and I, we have that mentality where if there are people who doubt that we can do this type of field or wherever we're at in our position, keep doubting. That's going to be great in the long
Mm-hmm.
run when we become what we want to become, and we can look back in these interviews and say, "Hey, I interviewed that guy," or "You're probably going to be bigger than me, or I'm going to be bigger than you." Whoever knows, we'll be able to be like, "Hey, look,
Yeah.
yeah, we used to do an interview together."
Yeah. That's true.
All right, let's see here. What social media platforms do you have?
Well, for Hollywood Reseller, we are on TikTok. We're also here on Instagram. And then also, as well as you had mentioned before, we're on YouTube, Hollywood Reseller.
Oh, so you have three of those platforms? Cool. Do you do those like
Yeah.
on a regular, or like is there like always like an episode put out or a video put out maybe once in a couple weeks?
Good Good question. Mainly, to be honest, I'm one thing that I same goes for reselling. Like, let's say, you know how we had I had mentioned that I saw these different platforms. The same thing with social media. I would try to balance myself three different ones, right? So now I
Yeah.
kind of got to the point where in life you have to kind of like what I've learned is try to just stick to one. So what I'm doing now is just I still have both Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok, but I'm kind of going more towards the Instagram, just more active on Instagram. And the second most active is going to be YouTube, of course. And then the last one is TikTok.
Yeah, no, I agree, dude. Like, there's a lot of platforms to work on, and if you, like
Hmm.
I said before, if I told a lot of people before, is that if you want to get into like the social media platform, it takes a lot of work, it takes a lot of commitment. It
Yeah.
almost takes like a whole crew because not only, let's
Hmm.
say if you're the editing person, you're recording videos, you're trying to write a script, you're trying to come up with an episode, you're doing everything you can to do
Hmm.
your video and put it out there. That's a lot to do, and then have to
Yeah.
focus on like marketing yourself in a way where you're like,
Hmm.
hey, look, people, this is who I am on Twitter. This is who I am on Snapchat. This is who I am on Facebook. This is who I am on Instagram.
Yeah.
This is who I am on Zoom or whatever. Like, oh, whatever they have, they're going to just keep tossing. It's like, there's so many platforms. You're right. You got to limit
Hmm.
it. You can't, I don't know why people go on everyone. If you're talented enough to do all those platforms, have at it. If you can take a picture or
Hmm.
record yourself every day doing something that seems somewhat fascinating and then also market yourself, do you. But I just don't
Hmm.
have enough time in the day. I believe you do too,
Yeah.
where we could be like, oh, let's focus on Twitter. What am I going to write today? Let me Snapchat a couple seconds. Let me Instagram on TV for a moment. Let me do this on Facebook and leave this comment or post something. Like, no, all of that just seems like you're just going to spend 2, 3 hours literally
Hmm.
just marketing yourself on social media and then hoping that everyone genuinely gives a crap when you know it's going to take you a few years before
Hmm.
anyone even genuinely gives a crap about you.
Yeah. And yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I do still have stuff to pack, right? And that takes time as well. So whenever, and not only that, I have to list items. Of course, I do get help on the side from other family members. So
Oh,
I'm
that's
really
good, dude.
blessed on that end right there. But
That's
yeah,
good.
the same, just trying to become a lot more, how do you say this, more organized with time,
Yeah.
and yeah, that's what I've noticed. It's just, I've noticed a lot of people concentrating on YouTube, which it's okay, but I do feel like IGTV is going to be the next, kind of like what Dodge is going through that, going up slowly, little by little. I feel that IGTV is going to be the next one, the next YouTube. Maybe not get as high as YouTube, but it's going to get pretty high up there. So that's why I'm kind of concentrating more on IGTV
Yeah,
or Instagram.
I mean that's the thing. Especially nowadays when the generation's about short videos now, like they're trying to do only like 15-minute videos on Instagram TV. I don't know if you still do that, but that's how they usually shorten up the videos. They used to give me only 15
Hmm.
minutes, and after that, that was all you had. I don't know if they extended the time, but I saw your video and our video, and it was
Hmm.
like 55 minutes. So I do believe
Yeah.
that they finally extended the time, which is great, which means Instagram TV is a competition with YouTube. Like they have not
Yeah.
only they have that real thing on Instagram, which is also competing with
Hmm.
like I think TikTok or Snapchat. You know how it's like a you press on it and it shows
Yeah.
all these random videos for a couple seconds. Same thing.
Hmm.
It's like Facebook knew to buy Instagram while they could because they knew that Instagram
Hmm.
would be the perfect platform to work on. Like, oh, let's get the followers to get into this, where it's almost the same as YouTube, the same as Snapchat, same thing as TikTok, but it's not.
Hmm.
All right,
Yeah.
let's see. Where do you see the business go?
Very good question. Since I do have we're talking about a lot of merchandise and many repeats. So I'm trying to work my way to kind of like auction off some stuff little by little on the side here on Instagram. At the same time, just grow to get more of those higher end items. And I see it in a way kind of like, let's say, the stock market. It's not the same, but it is in a way because it's something that you buy, you hold, you list it at a certain price, and it sells when it sells, right? That's pretty much how I see it. And you don't lose, obviously, until you get rid of the item, right? That's kind of like how I see it.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just see myself just expanding from there, just going more for the higher end items.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, why not? Like, if you get enough
Hmm.
money, build that momentum, obviously you're gonna go for the bigger
Hmm.
fish. You're gonna be like, yo, what if I
Yeah.
could get, I don't know, a dirt bike? Or what if I can get, I mean, I'm just
Hmm.
going over the top with that, but if you can get like old school
Yeah.
guns or something like that, that like are old antiques, I mean, people would probably be like, yo, what's up with that? I want to get that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I see that too. I see like obviously businesses have to start small and then eventually once they
Hmm.
grow, they become like an entire empire. So you might start off with
Yeah.
just you and then you might hire a few people and be like, yo, I need you to work in my business doing this and that and that and now I'm the manager. So you guys are, you guys are working for me, which is all good, but at the same time, like you're also gonna make me some money and I ain't gotta do that anymore. Like that's how I feel
Right.
like how everybody goes. One minute you're the person working the grind and then eventually, once you build that
Hmm.
empire, some people just keep doing it. They're like, I got to keep hustling and grinding. Like Kevin Hart, The Rock, they're just, I got to keep hustling and grinding. I think that at some
Yeah.
point, like you got this success, you got that
Hmm.
money. I mean, why push yourself more? I mean, people say I can go further, but I feel like there's so much
Hmm.
more to life to be like, I need to build an empire on a global scale rather than just kind of
Right.
appreciate what I got now and, be humble for it. I'm not saying that they're not
Yeah.
humble for it, obviously, but I'm do saying like I do say like there's I don't think business is everything.
Right. Right. And then, yeah, I mean, that's one thing also that, I mean, one thing that I would recommend also, if you would like to get into it, there's always stuff at home, stuff family members have laying around. You might be able to resell that stuff. Does never hurts to give it a try to get into it. That's one thing I recommend anybody. Just try, see if it's for you, you know?
Yeah, there's so many like I got so many people like my mother like if I wanted to and I asked her, hey mom, you got a few stuff lying around that you're like never gonna use ever again, and you probably just have it there because you think it looks cute for a moment, and she'll be like, yeah. I was like, I got 50 of those. I can just be like, okay,
Yeah.
cool, I'll grab that stuff over there, but like, yeah, I think it is
Yeah.
like if you do get onto this type of job, it is a full-time commitment. I don't think everyone's going to be able to do what you're doing. Like, I don't think everyone wants
Right.
to grind because then it's also about interacting with people, like they have to
Hmm.
engage, they have to make negotiations, they have to try to sell
Yeah.
something to somebody, or they have to try to lower the price. You have to kind of like have a poker face in a way when it comes to these type of
Hmm.
this type of job. Not everybody's like this. Some people are just so insecure that they're like, I can't confront anybody or talk to anybody. So how am I going to confront and then try to negotiate with them? But I mean, like
I mean,
people,
I was gonna say, I'm not gonna lie to you. I kind of am like that when, like we just said right now, when it comes to like going up to people and starting. I'm not a people's person, let's say.
yeah,
So basically, honestly, to cut it short, what I do whenever I go to places, I just honestly right away at the moment I tell them how much, what's the lowest for that item, and they look at me all weird, but I just keep pushing it. You know what I mean? And sometimes when it gets to the point where I don't think that they're gonna budge on the item price, I just say, well, if you can't, it's okay. No, not an issue. And then kind of like I guess that kind of also helps make them feel a little bit like, oh, you know what, I want to make that sell at the same time. So they tend to just meet me halfway, or a little bit lower than what they're asking for.
yeah, yeah. I
So
just
yeah, it's one of those things that it's a lot of people I think also are not people person, but it's just one of those things where you just learn different ways to kind of just still try to get that good sell at a low price.
yeah. So you kind of learn to adapt. You learn you were like, yo,
Hmm.
I'm not like this type of
Yeah.
person. So I was like, this is how I'm gonna approach it, and it works.
Hmm.
Hey, so,
Yeah.
win some, lose some. It's all good on that end. Do
Yeah.
you have any hobbies besides this? This is obviously not a hobby; it's also a career and a hobby. So
Any
between
hobbies?
yeah,
That's a very good question. Well, honestly, mainly just I just sometimes just go for a hike here and there, and then just hit the Stairmaster. That's about it, to be honest. Listen to different type of music. Check out just different YouTubers. You know what I mean? Check out your channel as well. Whenever you have new videos you put out. So yeah,
Appreciate it, man.
yeah,
Wow, you go hiking? That's dope, dude. And you like that's
yeah.
like not a lot of people would say that. Some people are like, what I like to do is like curl up in a good book, or I like to watch my favorite
Hmm.
episode or something. Or you're like, nah. What I like to do is I like to go outside and just appreciate nature. Like that's my thing. That's dope, dude.
Yeah. One thing that
I
I don't do
respect
though
that,
is
man.
I don't drive.
Not everybody does.
Thank you. Yeah, but
Yeah, no.
one of those things that I don't do though is drive like 90 plus miles just to go to one place and go hike and see some huge trees. You know what I mean? Go to Arizona and look at that view. Nah, not that. But yeah, still locally. Yeah,
Yeah, no, yeah. I mean, honestly, I don't know how people can full on commit to go somewhere so far away when there's something so
yeah, I could.
close that you could do the exact same thing. But it's like, no, but it's different looking over there, and it's like, okay, cool.
Yeah, yeah, I couldn't do that. Maybe one day, but not anytime soon.
Yeah, right. Maybe when I'm
Yeah,
like maybe when we're like famous, we're making enough dough, we could be like, you know what? I'm gonna go take a little trip all the way to somewhere just to look in the mountains or something, you know?
mm-hmm. I low key do have like a small list of places to go. For example, one, if I were ever to get up there, there's this island called Elva. I'm not sure if you ever heard of it, where Napoleon Bonaparte was sent out to exile. I think
What
it's part of Italy now or something like that, or part of France around that area.
what's it
So
called?
little things like that, you know what I mean? A little more than just, up the same place, that everybody goes to.
Yeah,
So
no, yeah, that's great, dude. Because I think that everybody's got to have that bucket list or something like that. Like we got to have something. I feel like we can't just settle for
yeah,
like, oh, we're just gonna. The one thing in our entire life is find a job, find a place to live,
yeah.
pay some bills, find the right person to be with. All that stuff. Like, yeah, that's
Hmm.
all essential stuff. But we also be able to be like, yo, we only got one life. Some people like to think we reincarnated, but some people like to think this is just one life. And if we got this one life, what we gonna do with it? You gonna spend the most of your time just contemplating whether or not you're doing very well, or are you gonna think about some places you want to go one day and make it happen?
Yeah,
That's how it should get done.
that's true. Yeah,
Let's see. Okay, so what's the best place to find decent priced items?
that's a very good question. Honestly, I mean, number one best place, what I think, well, it's really hard to tell, to be honest, because there's not really number one best place. But one thing that I would recommend for sure to just look around locally from you, your local swap meet or flea market. I recommend that. Try to see when the days, if possible, when there's less people and less people to buy and maybe more vendors, and try to see if you can just kind of like get to see who's selling what. That's one place, right? And then your local thrift shops too. It depends. Local Goodwills. And then
Yeah,
another place that I recommend maybe just to give it a try, local pawn shops. Try to see what they're all about. See if get a little bit like a sense of the people that work there. If there are folks who are willing to work with you on certain prices. The reason why I think that has potential is because they tend to not just buy regular garbage or you know what I mean, right? They tend to buy decent items
yeah,
or let's
valuable
say
items.
yeah,
Yeah.
no, yeah. I have one place that I think you might be able to get some like good items. And then, of course, garage sales. There's yard sales, moving sales, different kind of sales, estate sales. I heard that moving sales is a really good one because that's when people gotta move their stuff much faster, so they tend to be more of in a hurry to and more willing to lower the price than other
Oh,
places.
okay, that's good advice,
Yeah,
man. Yeah, I mean,
but it's a
everyone.
little bit of everything.
Yeah, because I think everyone who's like has been in the Latino or Hispanic community, they know like the places to go when it comes to buying any like decent item that maybe you don't
Hmm.
want to buy brand spanking new. You go to the swap meet. Swap meet's the place to go. They
Yeah,
got sometimes they got stuff that they is brand new, and sometimes they got stuff that's been used. But at the same time, you're gonna get a hell of a bargain compared to what you probably
hmm,
get at a Target that charges you not only like nine
yeah.
ninety nine plus tax. And depending on
Oh,
what state
and
you're at.
yeah, and I forgot to mention, I think you're more likely to get better prices at the open swap meets than the indoor swap meets. I think, I
Absolutely.
suspect.
No, I agree with you, bro. Like the indoor swap meets,
Hmm.
they don't budge. They're like, yo, I claim this spot. I'm here to make some money off of it. But people in the
Mm-hmm.
outdoor like swap meet, they're more like, hey, look, I'm trying to get my money. It's not like everybody's gonna
Mm-hmm.
come over here and look at my items and might sell me an item or not, or might buy me an item or not. It's like, no, I gotta play it fair. You know, I'll be like, okay, that's why they go.
Yeah.
Sometimes they lowball it at the last minute. Like they'll give you like something for like $2 or something, just because they're like, I'm gonna try to sell it to you.
Mm-hmm. And one more place that I recommend maybe looking into, if you're gonna get into it, believe it or not, look at your local churches close to you. They have also events where they get as many members bring their stuff to the parking lot, and then they have their local sales. I recommend looking into that because if you have a lot of churches in your area, you might be able to even get that. Like, look it up if they have websites and try to see what time of the year. You know, you can just go to one, the other. I know that I got a couple of good items at local church yard sale or,
Oh,
you know, event sale.
okay, okay, that's cool. Let's hear.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about yourself. We're almost down to our two final questions on this episode. So, tell us a little bit about yourself, my brother. You personally.
Let's see. So, oh, just me personally? Good question. Let's say I'm a gamer,
Yeah.
meaning I would play a lot of Counter-Strike back in the day. And yeah, I mean, that's about it. I would play like Command and Conquer type of games for a
Oh,
long time.
oh, I'm sorry.
And
Sorry to interrupt you, but we have one of our people leaving a comment saying, "Where do you recommend finding vintage shirts?"
that's a very good question. I heard there's places out there where they call the bins. I personally have never been there. And I know that I heard somewhere in downtown LA, supposedly they have a place like that known as the Bins. Either that or then again, like in San Diego area. That's what I heard. But to be honest, yeah, I'm not too familiar when it comes to vintage shirts. I mean, I've learned a little bit about it, basics, just for example, that they're like stitched once instead of stitched twice, little things like that. But yeah, to be honest, I wouldn't be 100% sure on
Okay,
where to
well,
go,
that's the
especially
best.
for the best deal.
That's the best
Good
advice
question.
we can give you, XHHX Bronco. Thank you for
Good
watching
question.
our video. Thank you for that question. All right, so you were telling us that you're sorry to interrupt you on that one. You were telling us you were
No,
a gamer.
yeah. Yeah, so I would get that with everybody, you know, like there were places known as internet cafes. I'm not sure if you've ever been into one of those, where it's all just mainly computers, and then people would all get together in the local community and just start playing, you know, either Counter Strike or Warcraft 3 or
Oh,
all
okay.
these different kind of games, where you would all be able to like work together, be able to play the same game, the same map. It could be maybe, let's say the terrorist versus what's the other one, the counter terrorist. And yeah, I will always tend to be on the, you know what I mean, the bad side. But
Yeah,
yeah, I would do that, a lot of that, basically.
that's awesome, dude.
Yeah, it was fun. Good times.
That's the thing about I couldn't get into those games because I just knew I'd get addicted to those games. Like I'm one of those people that if I get caught up into something, I will get caught up into it
Hmm.
for a long period of like I'll commit to it and then I'll realize like, wait a minute, what am I doing?
Yeah, yeah.
All right. So we got one last question. And this one's just an easy one. Where can people find you?
Good question. The best place I think would be, since I'm the most active, it's on Instagram under Hollywood Reseller. And then the second one is also on YouTube, Hollywood Reseller. I'll be making a whole lot more videos out there in the future on YouTube, but I'm mainly going to concentrate more on Instagram.
Okay, so
The
yeah,
same name, Hollywood Reseller on
so
both.
yeah, you heard it from Hollywood Reseller, my people. He's not going to. He's like, yo, YouTube, yo, you were good to me for a little while. You know, you were good, girl.
Hmm.
But it's time to move on to IGTV. She seems a little better looking than me.
IGTV is a place.
Yeah, you know, and I've also been on IGTV too, so there is a lot of viewings. Like you can tell, like there's an opportunity to get a lot of viewers on this platform, even on live. Even if we're not getting like 100,000 viewers, it's like a slow build up, knowing that there are people who are watching and engaging in the video.
Hmm.
So I do appreciate everybody who's been joining us and watching this episode of Burning Breeze. This is our
Thank you.
20th episode. This is our second interview. This is the man, Hollywood Reseller, who resells items, makes a killing in it, and he's had us quite a story. If you guys wanted to watch this video of the whole episode, it's going to be on my IGTV. I'm going to try to share it with my boy over here, Hollywood Reseller, if I can. Hopefully I can save the video because I'm not really familiar with Instagram Live. So I'm crossing my fingers that I won't screw this up and I'll be able to save this video so you guys can watch it on Instagram. Hopefully I'll be able to record it and send it on YouTube. But if it is on Instagram, I guess I'm just going to have to let everybody know. Follow me on my Instagram to watch our 20th episode of Burning Briefs. Hollywood Reseller, thank you, my brother, so much for giving us your time,
Thank you.
giving us your advice, telling us about yourself, being able to engage in live with us about everything you do in your job, man. I really appreciate it, brother.
Thank you.
All right,
Appreciate
well,
it. Thank you very much.
yeah. So if you guys want to find him, you know where to find him. Hollywood Reseller on Instagram or on YouTube, or you can also look for this video on C Class 90. If you're not on my Instagram and you're on my boy's Instagram, C Class 90 is the place you can find this video. Hopefully, I'll be able to share it with him. As always, really appreciate you guys. Like and share, subscribe to the YouTube channel on No Pressure channel, or subscribe to Hollywood Reseller. Either way, we would really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Catch you guys later. Peace. See if